And how's it going, everyone? It is Skullzi here with the latest and the greatest gaming news. The news that I have for you today is an update to a very interesting situation regarding an unannounced next-gen Bethesda game. Now, I did break this story originally earlier in the year, so the community does know about this game, and since then, people have been speculating on what this game could be. However, when it comes to actual confirmed information about whatever this game is, there's only a couple pieces of actual known information. However, with my new discovery in mind, it kinda tells us that this game might not be the game that we think it is. Now, if you're not familiar with this situation, don't worry, because I'm gonna give you a very brief summary as to what we know about this before going forward with my new discovery. And in terms of my new discovery, as always, I'm gonna be recording my screen. That way we can go through this information together so you can see that my bullshit capacity meter is always running at 0%, and that way you can look this information up to verify it for yourself if you choose to. And we're gonna start our adventure right here, and what this is a list of all of the very recent Bethesda job postings. This has to do with Bethesda Game Studios, ZeniMax Online Studios, and anything underneath the Bethesda Softworks umbrella. I keep very close tabs on this list right here. There's some interesting stuff that pops up once in a while, and if anything that warrants an entire video does come along, I do a video on this, but I don't do a video on each and every little thing that comes up because some of these jobs are reposts. Some of them aren't entirely interesting to the community because they may not pertain entirely to game development. However, there is a very interesting brand new job listing that I've just noticed that hasn't been posted until just now, and just now means 2 days ago. That's how recent this new job posting is, and what this job posting is for ZeniMax Online Studios in regards to their new unannounced IP. Now, the only two pieces of information that I mentioned before that we know about what this new IP is that ZeniMax Online Studios is making this game, and they've previously made Elder Scrolls Online, which a lot of people love. The game is actually pretty good for an MMO, and it did the Elder Scrolls justice. And don't get it confused, because Bethesda Game Studios had nothing to do with the development of that game. ZeniMax Online Studios did it entirely themselves, and the same thing is going to be the case for this new IP. This new IP is also supposed to be a next-gen MMORPG game, whatever that means. Personally, I'm more of a single-player kind of guy, but I can get into a few MMOs, so I am kind of excited because I did enjoy the Elder Scrolls Online. So a next-gen version of the Elder Scrolls Online would be very interesting. However, I don't think that this is simply going to be a Elder Scrolls Online reboot, because the Elder Scrolls Online still gets content on the regular, and they also got a very recent Elsewhere expansion as well. They're not going to be leaving behind the Elder Scrolls Online anytime soon, and usually MMOs have about a 10+ year lifespan, meaning that ZeniMax Online Studios plans to have the Elder Scrolls Online run for 10+ years of consistent content, upgrades, expansions, and so on. Same case for whatever this new IP will be, but anyway, let's get to the actual description of this. I did some more research on this and went over to ZeniMax's actual websites to where we can see direct from the source what this job posting is, and if we go down here, because luckily it's in alphabetical order, thank you ZeniMax, you can see that the actual job posting is, where is it? Right here. Lead Gameplay Camera Designer for Hunt Valley, Maryland, ZeniMax Online Studios. The job description overview is as follows. ZeniMax Online Studios is seeking a lead gameplay camera designer to join our studio for the development of our next AAA game. This is a chance to join an experienced group of developers in pre-production for a new IP. In this role, you will collaborate closely with the art director, lead designer, and the combat and level designer teams to implement the unique camera vision of our game. The primary focus of this role will be the creation of in-game player-controlled cameras and supporting development pipelines. You will also push the boundaries of your craft by exploring the latest emerging trends and creating solutions hand-tailored to player and business needs. Very interesting that they didn't mention that you're going to be pushing the bleeding edge of in-game camera design. I guess that must just be a Bethesda Game Studios thing. Inside joke if you don't get it, but anyway, moving on. The qualifications are pretty on par with anything that ZeniMax or Bethesda is looking for. They want you to have 2 to 5 years experience implementing in-game cameras, extensive experience with 3D Studio Max preferred or similar 3D packages, pretty much experience with making in-game camera and gameplay engines. They also want you to have working knowledge of camera controls from various game engines including scripting, interest and background in photography, maintaining a strong animation and technical skill set, and the ideal candidate is a self-sufficient technical problem solver with well-developed communication skills and a strong work ethic. Your responsibilities are design, set up and tune player-controlled gameplay cameras and camera systems, which is interesting wording, right? They're not just saying the in-game camera, they're saying player-controlled gameplay cameras and camera systems. So what is this game going to be? If it was just another MMO game like ESO, you would think that they wouldn't have to kind of like put all of this focus and work into making the in-game camera system for the game. MMO camera systems like the Elder Scrolls Online and World of Warcraft and stuff like that, while they do need a little bit of attention and work in order to work in the in-game world without having glitches and annoying camera issues, it's usually not a workload-heavy type thing. And with the very specific wording in here, player-controlled cameras and camera systems, it leads me to believe that somehow the player-controlled camera in the game is in itself some kind of feature or somehow implemented into the gameplay and gameplay design. The responsibilities go on to say they want you to use script to set up camera behaviors, layout, and hook up camera action triggers in-game, which kinda supports what I was just saying. They also want you to be able to support player navigation, traversal, and combat with a keen eye for the combination of composition and usability. They want you to be able to work very closely with the combat and level design teams to help create a smooth and seamless player experience. Their preferred skills are for you to have 5+ years of industry experience with at least one shipped AAA title. Looks like ZeniMax still isn't hiring modders or anything. They want you to actually be professional, even though the modders have made plenty of great content for Bethesda games, but you know, whatever, that's a topic for another video. And they also want you to have working experience as a cinematographer in games, film, or television, which leads me to believe that maybe this person might also be helping to develop or create an announcement trailer for this game as well. Now that was the complete summary of this job posting, and while it normally just seems to be on par with any other Bethesda or ZeniMax job posting, there are a couple of interesting things to this. First of all, it was posted for the first time 2 days ago. This hasn't been something that's been posted over and over and over again like some of the other job postings on this list, and the wording in this job posting is kind of strange. Well, it seems to just have to do with developing and creating the camera system for whatever this new ZeniMax next-gen MMORPG game will be. The thing is, the wording wasn't that simple. They want you to design, set up, and tune player-controlled gameplay cameras and camera systems, and well, yes, technically the camera in ESO and games like World of Warcraft and other MMORPG games are player-controlled because you could zoom in, spin around, and all that crap. To be honest, those camera systems aren't that technical. They work well in the game worlds that they're designed for, but they don't need to put a ton of work into the camera system to get it to work. I'm not trying to make light of the camera designer's work or anything, I'm just saying when you compare the camera system to something like a Resident Evil game where you're in multiple changing close quarter combat situations where you need to be able to see what's behind you, what's in front of you, different items in the environment, while at the same time maintaining a suspenseful and kind of scary camera angle and dynamic, there's a lot more work to that than just making a camera system for an MMO game like the Elder Scrolls Online. So with that in mind, this new IP might not be something like the Elder Scrolls Online. Just because it's an online massive multiplayer game doesn't mean it needs to just follow the same dynamic that these games have been following basically since World of Warcraft. This seems like it might be something new, something dynamic, and that may go beyond the next-gen aspect of this. While yes, this next game will be using next-gen technology, it seems like the gameplay in itself might be something that we aren't expecting, and that might not be a bad thing. It might breathe a new breath of fresh air into the massive multiplayer online games, which I would welcome because I do enjoy ESO, but to be honest, I've been playing games like World of Warcraft since WoW first launched back in the vanilla days, so I am kind of burnt out on that template that's just been erased, restructured from the ground up, and used over and over again. In fact, I think the loot table that derived from this very MMORPG system is what eventually led to the microtransactions and loot box dynamic that we have going on in many other games right now. So with all of this in mind, I'll be paying special attention to this new ZeniMax next-gen MMORPG, because it seems like ZeniMax Online Studios is brave enough to try something new here and to not go with the same repeated, burnt out, but semi-successful dynamic that many other developers are going with. But that's basically all of the information in this video. As always, I want to know what you have to say about all of this. Let me know down in the comments below, and if your comment wins the internet and make it featured in a future video. Be sure to like this video if you enjoy the content, subscribe, and turn notifications on if you want to stay in the know when it comes to the latest and the greatest gaming news. Follow me over on Twitter for the latest channel updates. Come over to the community Discord chat server where there is always an awesome and active conversation and some speculation taking place. Come over to Loot Drop, the official Skullzi merchandise site, where you can get some awesome merchandise to help support the channel and show everyone that your bullshit capacity meter is always running at 0%. And if you want to have your hand in providing future content and getting access to unique and awesome awards, then consider subscribing to the community over on Patreon for as low as $1, or join the channel here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. Links for all of these awesome things are down in the description below, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time, when bees are assuming direct control.
just works.